In this video, we're going to be creating high-impact marketing strategies for companies in 9 different B2B industries. We're also going to be taking a deep dive on these strategies to uncover exactly what makes them so damn impactful. But before we get into the video, let's quickly recap what a marketing strategy is, and more importantly, what it's not. For example, a marketing strategy isn't Google Ads, SEO, YouTube, or even content marketing. As you probably know, these things are tactics or, well, groups of tactics. A strategy, on the other hand, is a holistic approach of how you're going to amplify your company's competitive advantage to best reach and to resonate with your target audience. More simply, a strategy can be broken down into 4 key elements. The first one is target audience, and this is all around your segmentation of your ideal customer persona. What are their biggest pain points, and ultimately, what would they need from your company? The next thing then is your product, and then within your product, how you can position and what your differentiators. The positioning is very much around what the problem is you're trying to solve with your product compared to other solutions, both in and outside of the category that you're in, and why yours is the best solution. Then within the category, how are you different from the other providers? And these things need to be very tangible, so what you actually do, not just who you say you are. And we'll get onto this in this video because it's super important when putting together your marketing strategy. The next thing then is when you talk about channels, that's going to be your likes of paid search, paid social, organic social, email, etc. And that's when you start looking at your tactical plays to therefore bring your audience and your product and everything to do with the 2 previous sections together. And then finally, you have your marketing communications. So this is going to be your messaging. It's going to be your value proposition, which is super important, which we'll get on today. And ultimately then how you all bring it together. And then when you're targeting through these channels, what different messaging are you using, which is being deferred from your positioning and your differentiation work. So as you can see, it's all kind of interlinked with each other and you can't do one without the other. But it's super obvious to me to understand why marketers mainly get caught up in channels and tactics and start calling them strategy. Mainly because that's the one as marketers, especially in companies with more than, say, 10 people, it's the ones that we have control over. And then when you get to the companies that have thousands, you literally have zero control over anything to do with the product, anything to do with things like pricing, anything to do with who you want to go and target, and sometimes not even the messaging. So it's very easy for us as marketers to very focus inwards on tactics and try and reverse engineer them back into the wider strategy, which you've had no control over. Today's video, I'm not going to go too much into how to play internal politics to try and get, some of your hands on these elements that you haven't got control over, which are currently being focused on by your product marketing team or your C-suite, for example. But instead, I'm going to show you how you should frame your thinking to get the most out of your marketing budget. So hopefully, when you guys start absolutely raking it in for your company or for your clients, you'll then be able to have a seat at the table when it comes to those bigger conversations. I'm also not going to overcomplicate it today when I'm creating these sort of very short marketing strategies and approaches for companies. So all I'm going to use is one channel today, which I think will be the most impactful to be part of the strategy when you have other elements chosen for you, which would hopefully be really useful if you guys have a very similar circumstance to one of these companies. We're going to come on and go through how to create a marketing strategy or how to fit your channel approach into the marketing strategy, which has kind of already been existed today. Now, enough of the preamble, let's jump straight into it. So I'm only going to go down this simple document today, and the first one I want to talk about is the CPD accreditation industry. Now, without going too much into what CPD accreditation is, ultimately, CPD accreditation is something that course providers and internal companies can have for their training, which gives them a bit more credibility and allows their members or users of this training to be able to gain CPD points, which I'm pretty sure allows you to work towards some sort of professional development standard body thing. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about actually what the business model is. It's just an example of a B2B type company with a approach that we can take. Now, in a lot of cases, again, like I mentioned, the audience is going to be predefined for you, which in this case, let's just say it's business owners for SMEs, of the edge and business owners for SMEs. Now, benefits. When you get into a marketing strategy, you want to start looking at ultimately what the benefit is at the end of the tunnel that someone's going to have. And most B2B companies just say things like increase revenue, supercharge revenue, boost your bottom line, all of these ChatGPT-esque type catchphrases, which are the value proposition and make up the benefits of a lot of these brands. Now, one of the things over the years, which I've been very sort of vocal about, is that this needs to be something that's tangible. It needs to be something that isn't like increased revenue. It might be, but in this case, kind of just making off the top of my head, you can start offering CPD points to your members. That's a benefit. And the CPD points to your members allows them to access funding, which means they can take your course. Because I know within bigger companies, people get money internally to go away and take these CPD accredited courses. So it opens up your company and your training business to a much wider audience that could potentially be paid through their company. So that's a big benefit for them, right? And that's sort of, you can get your hands on that. It's tangible. It's not just saying, get CPD accredited, boost your revenue. Because what does that mean? The other one would be getting CPD accredited would increase your course's credibility, for example. And just, don't say make more revenue is kind of what I'm getting to. But I'm not going to go too much in benefits today. That's a whole separate video, I think, of actually how to articulate your benefit outside of obviously boosting revenue. But then after you kind of have your benefits, you've got your differentiators. So how are you going to achieve these benefits? And what makes you different from, say, another CPD accreditation provider? So for example, here you could have things like quick accreditation time. So 1 week, I don't know if that's good. I've just sort of made that up for here. Online workshops, which I did a quick Google, and it looks like most people recommend you go in to take these courses. And say things like, 300 5-star reviews. This is a made up company, but don't say things or intangible things like great customer service, because that means nothing. If you have 300 5-star reviews, that's provable. That's something that's written down, it's in stone, and it actually makes someone believe that you do have good customer service, and it implies that without you actually saying it. So if you guys want to create a value proposition, very much it's like saying, who's your segment, what's your differentiator that we went through, and then what's the desired benefit. So here it could be something like, we train businesses get CPD accredited within a week through our online workshop, so you can start offering CPD points to your members. That's a value proposition, which I'd say is like a 6, 7 out of 10. But I'd say most companies don't know what their benefits are, don't know how they're differentiated in the market, and don't exactly know who they're targeting. And before you can actually create a channel plan, you need to extract this. And if you haven't got control over this, you need to make sure that you go to your C-suite, your product marketers, and actually get this information out of them, because your performance marketing campaigns aren't going to do very well either. And you have no idea which messaging direction to go down. Another example would be for a value prop to say target persona credibility plus desired benefit plus differentiator. So we've helped over 300 plus training businesses increase their course credibility by offering quick online CPD accreditation services. Now, you don't actually have to choose, and the value proposition can change with your positioning over time, but it's important that you kind of understand the buckets of your positioning and then how that then translate into messaging. Because then when you go and do split testing, you're not just saying, oh, I'm split testing a form which says get quote or get pricing. I'm actually split testing messaging, which has been derived from our differentiators, which we've got from our positioning work that we've done, which we've got from the benefits we know we offer for what target segment. I appreciate there's sort of like a long way to break down, but it becomes super important. So say, for example, this is your company, all this sort of stuff has been chosen before you, and you've helped them craft, who you're going after, and the product itself and how it's positioned. So a good example to bring this all together would be, how can we best amplify this to our audience? So looking at, and this historical knowledge, and because I've worked in the industry for so long, the best channel for this in my mind, and the quickest go to market, would be through Google Ads. Now, Google Ads, in this case, just taking a look at this little screenshot, is we have 2.1k search volume per month, which is slowly increasing. The average CPC is around 72p, which to me says this is a super undersaturated market. People aren't bidding that high. There's a lot of search volume, and there's people in market to buy now, which means they have a super urgent need. Now, if the cost per click was like £100 and there was 100 people a month searching for it, I'd probably be like, opportunity cost isn't worth it. You're probably not going to get the throughput. The channel isn't going to be worth it. So when you're looking at a marketing strategy, we know that we have very clear positioning. We know we have, a clear differentiator, which are going to be these things up here. And then how can we then get these in front of these SME business owners? And because it's SME, it's going to be open to a wide bunch of people. They're going to be small, they're going to be medium sized. So using lots of search, it's going to be a really good way of getting to your target audience market. On the flip side, if we look at a education software for help desk software for education and government, we could look at the, one of the ICP or ideal customer profile segments is going to be the education and government companies. And let's just say, for the sake of it, it's IT directors. Their differentiators, and again, top of my head, could be the fact they're on-premise rather than cloud, so it's going to be much higher security. They have secure remote hands, which means people can go and work on the servers without them having to go there, and it's more affordable than cloud. three really strong differentiators, but then you guys sort of come in and say, okay, that's great. You guys have decided who we're targeting, IT managers, government staff. You guys have your differentiators. How can I finalize this marketing strategy to go out to the market and say, how are we going to actually sort of amplify our competitive advantage, which are those differentiators, to get the message across? So what we can do, and I'd say in this instance, is you use the likes of LinkedIn ads, because you don't want to bid on help desk software because it's going to be very expensive up against the likes of Zendesk. So you're going to spend loads of money without even knowing if they're in the right sector for you. And also, if you want to bid on things like on-premise help desk software, super low search volumes after having a look. So what you want to do is now then look to say, how can I best reach my audience with these differentiators, which are going to be best showcase? So what we can do is then look at LinkedIn ads. One, look at obviously targeting IT managers from these types of companies and then testing these different messages of which one they seem to care about the most. Or what we can do is look at, be really creative from a LinkedIn perspective and say, we're going to go and look at all of Zendesk's subdomains. So if you go on zendesk.com forward, you can actually, if you do a site search, you can actually see all the companies that have a help desk portal from Zendesk. You can then go through there and manually pick out all the ones which are government, which are education, and then you can start amplifying your messages to those companies. And it's going to be the best way. So the channel there, you as a marketer or performance marketer can choose a channel now which is best slotted in to ultimately what you've seen and what the rest of your company has dictated your target audience is and what your product is. You've then gone in and finalized that off by saying, okay, I'm now going to go through LinkedIn ads because I think this is going to be the best way. We're going to amplify our competitive advantage to the market. So, you haven't just gone into a company and just thought randomly, I'm going to do Google ads here. Because if you've gone in and not looked at the rest of the marketing strategy, you would have gone and be like, Mark, Google ads, you would have spent hundreds of thousands of pounds maybe and got very few leads. Whereas if you actually had gone in and said, I'm going to do LinkedIn, focus it around these three core differentiators, I'm going to take the targeting from Zendesk because their prices have increased, so we can actually create an ad for them and take those ads, take potentially those customers away because we're a better fit because of our differentiators. That's a great marketing strategy. So you kind of, if you just run in with a tactic, it's like going in and playing chess and having the same opening every time. Someone else who has a strategy is going to see that and pull it apart. You want to make sure that what you're doing actually fits in after you reviewed the target audience and the messaging strategy. So let's look at one more example. So we've got a managed service provider, and these are getting shorter and shorter because I feel like we're kind of getting the gist, but I want to just bring some thinking into the mix here. So for example, we've got ICP segment would be businesses between 500 and 200 people in Surrey and Hampshire, and it's going to be owners and IT directors. Now the differentiators here, and this is super key every time, you'll always see it's never me being like great customer service, like friendly team, like reactive support. It'll be tangible. The biggest one here is going to be location. Again, great differentiator for these types of businesses. Really good moat. Online ticket portal response in 2 hours, or it could be physical response in 2 hours, depending on location, and unlimited requests. So this way is saying we have great customer services, and you aren't being done on a rate card, which is very typical in the industry. So you have your business owners of a certain size, you have your product differentiators here, and you then have your channel. So I'd go in and say, okay, managed service provider, can I use Google? Okay, looks average, but can't quite qualify the size of people. I could then go onto LinkedIn and say, okay, I could do, if someone then hits 100, 500 people, I could then look to target audience. I could then actually look to target that audience who've just hit a certain threshold. But I know, because of my industry knowledge and my target audience, and I know the mindset of them, and this is where strategy comes in, that people only look and change for IT service providers when they have an issue. So that means advertising on LinkedIn a lot of the time may be great, but it could be a long lead time before coming in. And my goal is to get leads in now. And I know that people are going to, start new jobs. So what I could do is use Bing, for example. And I could go on Bing, bid on like IT service providers near me, but then using LinkedIn's layering, because Microsoft obviously is part of LinkedIn, or LinkedIn and Bing, and all the associated search engines like Yahoo, DuckDuckGo are all part of Microsoft. So you can use the Microsoft data from LinkedIn ads to pull that in and say, I only want to target people. I want to bid 3 times the amount if someone's 50 to 200 people. I want to bid just in Surrey, and someone who has, has XYZ position. If it's an IT manager, I want to bid even more. So you can actually go in there, use Bing, and a lot of people who probably are a bit more locked down and security conscious do use Bing because they have a lockdown app store, unlike other computers like MacBooks and everything else. Going on to number 4, and I want to take a completely different B2B angle on this one. How would I best approach a commercial lawyers, for example? Now, the segment here would be London tech businesses and differentiators. Again, made up business would be their experts in SaaS and tech contracts, fixed fee projects. That's really nice. If a lawyer has a fixed fee project, it's so much better than the hourly 350 million thousand pounds they charge. Clear offering. I don't even know what I put these in there for. I've completely forgotten what that even means. Anyway, let's just say these are the two. They've got experts in SaaS tech contracts and they work fixed fee. Okay, so I didn't say that they're experts in XYZ. And you could probably go even deeper in this and be like, we have a process or like templated contracts which have been used by XYZ. That makes it more tangible than shows they're experts. But again, you kind of get in the picture now. And fixed fee projects, really good differentiator. Now, because these guys here, I know from a Google Ads perspective, expensive CPCs. I know from a LinkedIn perspective, you could probably build up trust. But again, it's a bit more of like a grudge purchase. People need this when they need it. And yes, there may be someone top of mind, but is it better to take it from a LinkedIn demand gen approach? Is it better to do a demand capture approach? I think from this side of things, organic is a really good play because there is no ambiguity about what it is someone's looking for. Google Ads can be a really good way to be like, is someone going to convert on help desk software or help desk software plus XYZ? Whereas I think with a lot of lawyer-based terms, the ROI is so high and the revenue from a purchase is so high that I think you can go and invest a good amount of money and be very sure that these queries are going to convert and it's going to be very profitable if you're able to hit page 1 for, tech lawyers, London, SaaS contracts, London, whatever it may be. And I think there's going to be lots of different variations. So people are going to talk about like, GDPR, insertion into contract or data protection updates to contract. There's going to be so many different variations. I think you can start creating dedicated pages and use local SEO as well as national SEO on this side of things to be able to rank for hundreds and hundreds of variations of terms with slightly different intent and broaden that net. And again, that's where strategy kind of meets the initial channel that you want to go after. Next one here, so I haven't used an industry, I've actually used a company name because I think this takes a very different look to the companies we've already looked at. A company like Monday.com, which is someone who is initially went deep as a project management tool and now they've gone into like CRM. I'm pretty sure they do websites. I don't even know that they do everything. Now these guys here, they have a target segment of all businesses. Well, their segments are obviously ICP means you go and look at granularly at a certain segment, but their probably target audience market, I'd say in this regard, is pretty much all businesses that manage projects and CRMs. And their differentiator is you can customize for any use case, which is a broad differentiator, which means they need to have a very different approach to someone, a very specific differentiator, maybe that's smaller, that has less budget. So these guys here, and they actually have done this, which is the reason it gave me ideas, they use YouTube ads. Obviously, they do so many different channels and they have different types of strategies and approaches and yada, yada. But the key one that actually got us using Monday.com back in the day was the YouTube ads. And they coupled YouTube ads with really high production value, which meant they were able to scale extremely cheap CPCs with good. So then I think if you watch 30 seconds is when you get billed for your YouTube ads, but they're able to reach an extremely broad audience, people with small businesses, large businesses, and just show really, really nice, I guess, story, product loops, educational bits within the video, which actually got us in to convert. Because I was seeing their ads like 3 or 4 times a day before I got YouTube Premium. So I do miss those ads, but YouTube Premium is also awesome. If you go onto their YouTube channel, you can actually go here and you can see that the top channels have millions and millions. The top videos have millions and millions of views, which just show they must have been ads, because if you look at the engagement, they've got like a few hundred clicks, for example. So yeah, this is a really good, I guess, if I was a marketing manager of this company and they were just growing and like they were like, we're targeting everyone, this is our one differentiator, I'd be like, screw it, we're getting a seriously high production video or set of videos and we're going out by YouTube ads, because that's the way I best feel like we can connect our target audience market segment as a whole and then come down. I think if they said, we're a CRM for architects, who we're just a CRM, we're just for architects, and our use case is that, we have in-house or ex-architects who help you with pre-populated project templates, I'd be like, okay, we need to go down a very, very different route than this, but because they're so broad and because that's kind of how it works, I feel like that would be if I could choose one channel, it would be that, and one approach and tactic within the channel, it would be the high production bit of value videos. Number 6, we've got a marketing agency. So using ourselves as an example, or one of our businesses is a marketing agency, and our ICP and our segment, for example, is B2B brands. It's between say 20 and 200 people, and marketing directors, marketing managers, sometimes founders are kind of our bread and butter. Our differentiators would be, because we're B2B, we can't just say we're B2B experts. We say things like we understand long buying journeys, which we do. We understand that people care and want to get live in the first month and get going. So we get live in the first month, and we use things like CRM data to inform our channel activity. And again, we ranked number 1 for 18 months for the term SEO agency, which was a big learning for us because we got lots of leads, but a lot of them were B2C. So again, showed me about strategy. SEO was a great tactic. We ranked for a broad keyword, but we didn't follow our strategy because we were just trying to do it as a vanity metric. Done Google ads, which is great. LinkedIn ads, actually really good. But what we actually found doing YouTube informational content, if you're looking to sell a service and get someone much more the way bought in before then having a conversation, YouTube has been a great door opener for us, has been a really good way to sort of showcase experience, again, without actually saying that we're experts in X, Y, Z. So again, one of our biggest lead generators this year is probably LinkedIn and YouTube. The next one, I'm going to take a slightly different angle and look at like a channel you can use if you're if you're looking for something in a super competitive space and you want to be a bit creative. And that would be for like marketing software, for example, or a software provider, and then using Quora or Reddit. And say, for your example, your ICP is marketing agencies, and your USP is you've got great reporting, good integrations with Search Console, and white labeled SEO tools. For example, I really like the idea of Reddit sort of mid-funnel strategy where you go and bid on terms. So someone here saying, after 15 years experience, here's my favorite marketing tools, good amount of updates, good amount of comments. And then you have a little testimonial here. It's not the best. It's just literally one I came across as we were doing this marketing. We use this company here. I don't even think I can pronounce it, as a 12-person agency. It's been a game changer for us. If you're looking for different tools, you can kind of insert this into different use cases, because Quora, Reddit are really good for people looking for very specific use cases. You can then promote yourselves on those threads, on those channels. I think that's a really nice way of inserting yourself into the conversation. Is it a primary activity? I don't think so, no, but I wanted to show you guys the scope of how you can use channels, use tactics to sort of tie back into your wider marketing strategy, which includes then the product, target audience, market, and value proposition, everything. Next one, again, actually, I've gone on to a company called Supermetrics, which is mid-funnel. They're an API extractor and data warehousing tool. What I found actually really, really cool for them is they've taken a different approach. So if you go on to Google and you type in, like, what term are we going to type in? LinkedIn ads report template, and you can see here Supermetrics here shows one of our templates, and you can go and download one of their LinkedIn ad templates. The great thing about this is you can download the template and you can view it and put it into either Excel, you can put it in Looker Student, and then obviously it's kind of like a Trojan horse in the fact that then to actually use a template you need an API connector, so then you need to buy the software. So if you sort of really show good if you're able to use things like templates, reports, you work at accounting software, this type of software, marketing software, and you can offer reports, which then once you've kind of got the freemium report out of the way, but then you need the software to plug in, it's a really good approach, and you can kind of scale that. Like TikTok Shop comes out, you can get a reporting tool up there, TikTok reporting tool, you can have Shopify reporting tool, you can have thought leadership ads reporting dashboard for LinkedIn. You can kind of stay on top of the trends and actually then keep up with demand and keep plugging your product through the way of giving out free templates. And finally, as you can see, my notes have gotten shorter and shorter towards the end because I feel like we got the point. Video agency. We have target audience market here, and one of the segments would be e-commerce and sort of like channel partners. Now, the quality of product is going to be a big one. You can say, again, like the lawyer example, you can do a fixed cost for a video agent, and you can say all done for you because someone's really going to care about not having to do that much work. And then this is kind of where you should be able to take your marketing, is showcasing your value without saying it. So if you're a video agency, you should be doing video. It's your primary way to showcase your benefit to your target audience market. And again, something like LinkedIn ads, Meta ads, which would be on obviously Facebook and Instagram, YouTube ads, I think maybe, but going and actually saying, this is the content we've done for our show reel, getting someone to watch quite a bit of it and then putting them into a remarketing funnel. And I'm not going to go too much more into that because I think the proof's in the pudding. It's like a conversion optimization agency. If you send them to a landing page, your header should be like, do you want pages like this one? Because that should be their USP. And then finally wrapping it all together, like I mentioned, marketing strategy is a combination of roughly those 4 elements, and in a similar way to, I guess, the 4 Ps back in marketing school, where you have product, place, promotion. But I know you guys don't have a lot of control over product, price. You have control over place, and then you kind of have half control over promotion because people have a good idea of what they want to, do with that side of things as well. So once you kind of have and go into a company and you've managed to infiltrate a channel which is actually amplifying your competitive advantage and tying in with your strategy nicely, that's when you can go omni-channel. So all the places where Google Ads is working, that's when you can start getting your remarketing pixel on, and you can then start targeting them and doing remarketing campaigns through LinkedIn. Same way if you're targeting them on LinkedIn, you can then create an audience in Google Ads for all the people you've driven to your site from LinkedIn. You can then, target them across the likes of YouTube, you can target them across the likes of Reddit. You can create this omni-channel strategy which continues the conversation outside of one. But if you are in a place where you're putting together a strategy, you're not quite sure what best fit is for you, whether you should even use things like, podcasts, shorts, you're kind of thinking about potentially using these tactics and channels which you don't know if they're going to work. Look at your strategy, look at where your audience is hanging out, look at how you can best demonstrate your differentiators. Start with that one platform or that one channel or that one sort of simple tactic which is working for you. And then once you've kind of infiltrated that, that's when you broaden your net and try and create that inbound demand gen engine across the board, which makes really, really big incremental increases on the company's bottom line. I hope you find that useful, guys. I appreciate there was a lot to go through and I was mumbling a lot towards the end. But if you want to go and look at a B2B Google Ads approach, which I think is probably one of the most impressive ones I've ever seen, then click this video up here and hopefully see you in that video too.